Welcome to a special edition and the season finale of the Varsity League Link Coaches Corner. We are broadcasting live from Asylum Sports Center in Wall tonight. We should have made an applause sign, right? Like they hold up at the game shows.
The neon sign thing.
Yeah, applause. I'm Kevin Williams, along with Bob Batters and Ed Sarluca. And tonight is our special show, as I said, as we honor the very best in Shore Conference football during the 2021 season. It's our awards special tonight. We will honor our defensive and offensive players of the year, our coach of the year, our Shore Conference most valuable player, and we will also present some hardware as the number one ranked team in the Shore as deemed by the Shore Sports Network, which is the most credible source there is. So that is the one that counts. I want to thank my because I'll do it now before I forget, but I want to thank Bob and Ed. As many people know, I have been sidelined this entire season. As a matter of fact, the last time I did the show, it was the Wednesday before Labor Day here when we did a season preview. And I dealt with a bout of medical issues in the fall, specifically back issues, had back surgery 7 weeks ago. And I'm getting much better. But I went to one football game the first Friday of the season. I did one show. And I was sidelined the rest of the year. So these guys were kind enough to let me share the spotlight tonight with them. They've done a great job every Wednesday night, whether we were broadcasting live at River Rock or at the Office Restaurant and Lounge in Toms River. And, of course, special thanks to Varsity Link, who have sponsored this effort all season long. We certainly could not do that without them. So as I sort of go that, I say good evening to my two Comanchos over here. And here we are. I mean, for you, it might seem like a long season, but I feel like I was here yesterday.
Well, it's good to have you back off IR, first and foremost. But, it's been – we always get to the season, we say the same thing. Wow, it went quick. And you look back and you go, no, not really. I mean, remember, in August, as the players and the coaches here remember as well, it's 80, 90 degrees, and you're out there, and it still feels like summer, and now we're here. It's jacket weather, and it's 35, 40 degrees. And, it's a long season. It's a fun season. It's an entertaining season. It is every year, and this year was no different. So a lot of fun covering that as always. A lot of fun having different teams, different guests, being able to highlight all the great accomplishments, both team and individual in the Shore as best we could. So it was a fun ride. We certainly missed you every week on our show. So good to have you back for the finale.
And it certainly was a phenomenal season as far as we all know, COVID still in the spotlight. We did not miss one game, the Shore Conference.
We missed a couple.
Well, postponements?
Yeah. We missed a couple.
Well,
we were pretty good.
Unadvertised as far as why they were postponed. But obviously some of the lesser teams with not as many numbers had to cancel games. Only a couple, I think. But just to get through the season healthy, especially these teams that we're honoring tonight and part of these teams. It's been a great season, and we look forward to another one.
Yeah, and we're going to start out. So our format for tonight and is that we'll honor our defensive player of the year, then our offensive player of the year. If all goes well, somewhere after that, all season long on Friday nights at games that we deemed and good ones.
Yeah, our game of the week.
Coach Ed, and along with our guy Steve Meyer, were on hand with the Shore Sports Network vehicle and allowing people to sign up to win what is a terrific prize that we're going to draw tonight, and that is dinner for 6 at the Butcher's Block in Long Branch, and just as nice with limousine transportation to and from. And we expect Pat Guerin from the Butcher's Block will be here tonight to do that drawing, and that'll be fun. We'll do that, and then we're going to honor our Coach of the Year, our most valuable player, an award we created a couple of years ago. Which I'm really proud we did that because it's exactly what it is: most valuable player, and we'll do that. It's kind of like our Heisman Trophy.
It is in a way. It's our overall player of the year.
That's right, and then we'll finish up, and we have a perpetual trophy that sits in the trophy case of the school that has it for a year. We'll present that to our number one ranked team. But unfortunately, our first honoree could not be with us tonight for a very legitimate reason. He is the outstanding linebacker from Rumson Fairhaven, John Lista. their Defensive Player of the Year. Tonight is their awards banquet.
Yeah, their senior awards.
Their senior awards banquet. And, of course, we couldn't let the players know too far in advance. We had to make decisions and all that. And Bob reached out to everyone within the last few days. So when John couldn't come, I said to Bob, we'll see if one of the assistant coaches will come. He said, but they're all at the banquet too.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to get this award to John. That is the Defensive Player of the Year. And Bob and Ed, I'll let you talk a little bit about really one of the premier linebackers in New Jersey.
Absolutely. And Lista, this is a player that's been a starter for 3 years for Rumson, which always has one of the best defenses in the Shore, and had the same this year. Ended up as the number one scoring defense in the Shore, 6.8 points per game. And he was right in the middle of that, every game, 136 tackles, 62 solo, 10 sacks, which you add that together with 136 tackles is pretty darn impressive. 11 tackles for a loss, an interception that he returned for a touchdown, a couple forced fumbles, fumble recovery. He filled the box score pretty well. And more than that, you watch Rumson's games, and Ed, we saw the Bulldogs a bunch of times, not just this season but the past 3. And it seems like you saw 44 on every single play, making a play, and he was big in all their big games. You go to their sectional championship game, which they ended up losing to Woodrow Wilson, which was a defensive battle, really, until the end. A list of 20 tackles, 2 sacks in that game. And then you see what he did in the big games against Red Bank Catholic, against Donovan Catholic, against Wall early in the season. Just everywhere. Double-digit tackles in 10 of 11 games. And that just speaks for itself. I mean, just a tremendous player, a force on that defense, on a defense that has a lot of good players. And, I remember when he came in as a sophomore, a lot of those coaches said, hey, this is a kid that could end up being one of the best we've ever had. And you hear that from coaches who've seen some great players, and that's high praise. And he certainly lived up to those expectations.
Yeah, not only his toughness, but he is a sideline-to-sideline linebacker. He goes sideline to sideline. He will make tackles outside the hashes as well as inside the tackles. And going to the University of Penn, an Ivy League recruit, not too shabby to begin with, and they're going to love him there because they could play him at any number of positions that they want to. So congratulations to John Lista, our Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, just a couple more numbers on Lista. Again, we mentioned 3-year starter, 6'2", 215 pounds, finished with 296 career tackles, 15 sacks. And we mentioned Rumson had the number one scoring defense in the Shore, 6.8 points per game, 4 shutouts. So we know they always play good defense up there, on Ridge Road, and listed just the latest in some of the great linebackers they've had come through there and also be, I think, go back to maybe, 2013, 14, we had Mike Ruane. A couple years ago, Keegan Woods, and now John Lista as Rumson linebackers to be our Defensive Player of the Year. So certainly good company, and he just had a fantastic career. We miss you tonight, John, but we know you're getting some hardware up at the senior award banquets, and we'll catch up with John. We'll head up to Rumson, do a little interview with John, take a picture, and put that up there. Want to make sure he gets recognized, but we certainly understand why he couldn't make it tonight.
And again, obviously not a good student either. He's going to Penn, so he doesn't really
does
do well.
Okay
Doesn't do well in the classroom at all either. Congratulations, John. We're going to take a break now. When we come back, we will bring up and honor our Offensive Player of the Year. Boy, there are a lot of candidates for that award, but you got to make one choice. We like ours. We'll do that right after this.
Back here at Asylum Sports Center in Wall on the Varsity Link Coaches Corner special season finale of our weekly show, where we honor our season-ending award winners for the 2021 Shore Conference football season. We're at Asylum, which of course powers Varsity Link, the sponsor of tonight's show and the show every week here on the Shore Sports Network. So what is Varsity Link? It's the athlete's social media network. It's the first social media platform designed as a recruitment tool, helping athletes opportunity and a coach's recruitment process. It allows friends, family, the football community a chance to be part of the action, and allows athletes and coaches to post and interact. So to join the community and for more information, make sure you head to www.varsitylink.com and download their app. They're doing updates constantly. Their team's doing a great job just kind of innovating and keeping things fresh. So check those out at either the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store.
Okay, so Offensive Player of the Year. Boy, this is always a difficult choice. I mean,
it's an impossible choice.
Yeah, the numbers for so many kids are just so gaudy. So before I introduce who our choice is, let me just throw some numbers at you. 1,823 yards passing, 22 touchdowns, just 2 interceptions, completed 67% of his passes, ran for 565 yards and 10 touchdowns, averaged over 7.5 yards a carry, accounted for 2 or more touchdowns in 10 of his 12 games, scored a program record 8 touchdowns, 6 passing and 2 rushing, and total 314 yards in a playoff win over Morris Catholic, and would go on to lead his team to the non-public B State Championship. The Shore Sports Network Offensive Player of the Year from Red Bank Catholic is quarterback Alex Brown.
Thanks for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thank you guys.
A great season, as Kevin just mentioned. He threw all the numbers out there, and it ended up being just a special year for you guys in terms of what we're able to do as a team. And I know from talking to you on that field at MetLife that night, you could see it in your eyes and all your teammates' eyes just what kind of a moment that was. And now you've had some time to digest that. Just speak to that, going and winning the state championship, shaking off the one loss you had and then getting it done and accomplishing the ultimate goal.
Yeah, I mean, it was an unbelievable season, an unbelievable journey. And that feeling at MetLife, just kind of put it all together. Like you said, there were some tough moments along the journey during the season, losing my mom, that one loss that we had, but, our coaches put it together, our players put it together, and to come back from, that, it just made the season that much better, and it was definitely a special journey.
Alex, coming over from Modern Day when the school closed, your decision was to come to Red Bank Catholic. Tell me how you fit in with some of the guys there.
Well, I will tell you that at first they didn't know how they felt about me. But, I love the guys. The first day I thought we connected pretty well. There's a lot of, back and forth from social media and, us being at Modern Day at first, Rajan and Ashton, but coming over, the coaches, the guys, they really accepted us. It was a pretty awesome atmosphere, and it's a special place. So I'm grateful for these guys accepting me and bringing me in. All the parents, all the the whole family atmosphere is just amazing. So it was pretty easy to come over.
You were so efficient with the football. As Kevin said, only 2 interceptions, and you threw for 1,800 yards. It's amazing when you think about it. That just doesn't happen, especially in high school. But predominantly the weather this season, as most of our audience knows, was pretty good.
Yeah,
other than that one rain day, which you'd
terrible.
like to forget. But, that was 50-mile-an-hour winds and torrential rain for almost the entire game. But the weather helped you out a lot.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's when you get like good weather, it makes a huge difference, especially for the quarterback. Mm-hmm. And I was excited that when you hear like it's only like 8-mile-per-hour winds, a little sunny out, you get a little excited. You're like, all right, let's go. So yeah, that was pretty awesome.
That Timber Creek game, that was nice, ideal weather down at the beach.
The best.
Alex, you mentioned the family atmosphere, and that was probably more important to you this year than any point in your life, because we all know the story. It's been well documented, and I don't want to rehash old wounds, but you lost your mom at a critical time in the season. How much did you lean on, and did those players, your teammates, parents, and coaches, kind of lift you up to help you through that?
Yeah, I mean, I would say in football, more than any other sport, family means everything. And, going through something like that, I really leaned on all my guys, the whole RBC community. And like I said, it's really easy when you have such a great atmosphere and community like you do at RBC. I love this whole family. I love my guys, and they really helped me get through this. I couldn't do it without them.
This season, it's not like you came out of nowhere. Like we mentioned, you were a 2-year starter at Mater Dei before this, now a 3-time All-Shore selection. You had 2 very good seasons your sophomore and junior year, and you took it to another level this season, obviously. What do you think were the biggest improvements that you made yourself to go out and have that kind of season, be able to, A, put up the numbers, but, lead your team to 11 wins and a state championship?
Right. I would say, working with my quarterback coach in the off season, I really wanted to focus on my accuracy. I think that's why you saw I think I had the highest quarterback rating in the state, 139 or something like that. Just because being efficient as a quarterback is really important. I would also say probably the coach is letting me use my legs a little bit. I never really got to run as much as I did this year. And, it's a big part of my game. Being a dual threat quarterback, it puts a lot on the defense, especially when the quarterback's pretty fast. So that was probably a big part too. And then just having a great line like the line I had this year, that really helps out.
They got a little bit of size.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little.
Yeah.
Your decision to commit to Bucknell University, how easy was that decision, and did it take a lot off of your mind during the season?
Yeah, I mean, it was a fairly easy decision. It's a great school, one of the best schools in the country, pretty good football program, and what I really looked for, and when I was choosing my colleges and stuff, is definitely like I have here, a family atmosphere, and I knew the coaches very well. They were really awesome when I came on my visits and stuff, so it was a pretty easy decision, I would say. And yeah, it definitely takes a lot off your mind during the season.
One last one from me, Alex. You've been on such a journey throughout your career in football. I know from talking to you earlier, you said you grew up, you lived predominantly in New York City, then you moved down here. The school you're at drops football, and you come here and have the kind of season you did. When you think about your career in general, but really more specifically this season, what do you think you'll remember most about just all the things you had to go through and then how it ended on the football field?
That's a great question. Remembering the most, there's a lot to remember. There's, my whole journey has been, like you said, a little crazy. But I would like, being this as a special season and stuff. There's a lot of great moments, but I'll probably, remember the most our state championship win.
And scoring that touchdown.
Yeah, scoring that touchdown. But just, after the win, just looking at my guys and seeing how happy they were, knowing all the work that we put in the summer, this whole journey hasn't, you come to an end and you come to what you finally want, what you work all year for, and just seeing all my guys' faces, my dad crying on the 50-yard line with me, and just being as happy as we were. I would say that's probably the moment that's going to stick with me for the rest of my life.
Bet you those are the best tears he shed all season, for
Yeah.
sure, right?
Yep.
That's for sure. By the way, common thread, the 3 players we're honoring tonight, all outstanding in the classroom as well
Absolutely.
as the football field. So when someone says, how do you manage to do both? Well, the 3 men we're honoring tonight, they've done it pretty darn well.
Yeah, they certainly have.
And I'm sure they will continue to do so. Alex Brown from Red Bank Catholic is our Offensive Player of the Year, well deserving of that honor. Alex, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a break, and we'll come back right after this.
back here at Asylum Sports Center in Wall for the season-ending award special of the Varsity Link Coaches Corner. We've already highlighted our Defensive Player of the Year. That was John Lista, senior linebacker from Rumson Fairhaven. And we just had on our Offensive Player of the Year, Red Bank Catholic senior quarterback Alex Brown. We'll roll on with our awards tonight, but first, a message from Varsity Link, the sponsor of tonight's program and our show all season. Just first of all, sincerely to the guys, it's been great having them as a sponsor, and what they're doing for athletes, not just in the Shore Conference, but anyone who wants to, download that app and be a part of that program. Kind of, Kevin, like trimming the fat in terms of like social media on Twitter and trying to get your information out there and in the bio. And I see it all the time, and I know, the coaches do it too, and just trying to keep those kids, stick to football with what they're on there. And Varsity Link and their social network really helps that. So it's the Athlete Social Media Network. It's for players. Use it as a recruitment tool, and for coaches as well. So for more information, go to www.varsitylink.com. You can download that app on the App Store or the Google Play Store.
At times, I feel like the hardest award to pick is Coach of the Year, because there are teams that will be very successful, will win division titles, state titles, and be expected to do so, and sometimes they get overlooked. And then there are coaches who sort of, come out of nowhere a little bit and put up a season that's one for the record books. And, Bob, I'm looking at your preseason top 10 in our Shore Sports Network journal, and I'm looking, and I don't see Point Borough. But sure enough, they finished there, or they will finish there at the end of the year, because Brian Staub, in his fourth season as the head coach, guided the Panthers. They were the last team on the Shore Conference to play just last weekend. Finished 10-2 on the Patriot Division title. South Jersey Group 2 sectional champions, the first sectional title for the Panthers since 2005, the fourth in school history. Coach Staub, who probably thinks he was a good coach for the first 3 years of his career, was 3-6, 3-6, and 2-4, and I hope he wasn't questioning himself, but they put it all together this year, and we are really delighted to present Brian Staub as the Shore Sports Network Coach of the Year.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it, and it's definitely not an individual award. We have a great staff, and I'm sure I'll get a chance to talk about them, but just definitely a coaching staff and program award.
Well, certainly congratulations, as Kevin said, first and foremost. I want to go way back to August, and we were texting, and I talked to you right in your preview, and the main message you wanted to get across was just how hungry the program was, from the coaches all the way down to the senior captains to the freshmen in the program, just how eager you guys were to get back to winning and how dissatisfied you guys were with the last couple seasons, and you knew they had the pieces together and the work you put in and how much that fueled you guys. And, yeah, you weren't kidding. I mean, you fast forward 3 months later, and Kevin ran down all the accolades. So it's one thing to have goals. It's another thing to achieve them the way you guys did. So how about that? Just, 1 through however many guys you have in your program, they did the work, and that meant everything at the end.
Yeah, exactly right. We were just angry. We were angry. We felt like we were letting down the community and the school, and we just went on a relentless pursuit, and we got after it in the weight room every single day. We became obsessed with the small details. As a coaching staff, we broke everything down, every phase, and just, kind of made a checklist. And then, like you said, we thought we had the guys. We have some very good football players, so consistent in their approach, and it was a complete team. No one really, no star player. Mm-hmm. Some big names, but just a complete football team that was playing consistent football.
Brian, why were you so good? Well, the reason is that you had the number 1 scoring offense in the Shore, 35.5 points per game, but also you had the number 6 scoring defense, giving up only 13.5 points per game. That's why this team was so successful. And by the way, you did it with a very young team. Mm-hmm. Most of your skill kids, other than your quarterback, right? Yep, Charlie Vitale. He's gone, but everybody else in that backfield is back. And when I say everybody else, I'm talking about 4 kids that could carry the ball and score from any position on the field.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons we weren't in the preseason top 10. We only had a couple guys back, but it was where they were positioned. We had our center, Justin Tuzzolino, come back. We had our left guard, Luke Wilson, come back. Our quarterback, Charlie Vitale, a 3-year senior starter. So, that was a good start, and then we knew what we had coming up. and we had the perfect pieces to run the triple successfully. And, credit our defense and our defense coordinator, Shane O'Connor, for just having a tremendous year, especially in the playoffs, just stopping some very good running football teams.
Coach, I want to ask you this. You opened your season with Shore Regional, perennial Shore Conference contender for division titles and state titles. We all know Coach Kaz has been there forever and does a great job. And I'm wondering if it was after that game that you kind of felt there might be something special. Because I know going into the season you felt pretty good, and probably, through your little scrimmage schedule and practices, but you don't know till you take the field. But when you walk off the field that night before Labor Day weekend, did you kind of feel like there's something here?
Yeah, and this might sound a little crazy, but we were a little angry. We were a little upset. It's 34-20, and we felt we were, the better football team, and we had high standards. So we left off that field with a little sour taste in our mouth, and we just kept getting better and better.
Could that have been the motivating force for the entire season?
Kind of. It was the relentless mindset, and they were just so consistent in their approach. Every practice was like a game, and we practiced hard. And, the kids just brought it, and they bought into that, fourth and goal mindset. It was just every single day we're going to compete, and we're going to get better in every single phase.
You guys were certainly locked in, and the one point where you guys were finally able to kind of let it all out was that sectional championship game against Willingboro. I was fortunate enough to cover that game, and you're down 8-0, and then the next thing you know, you just start putting up points and pulling away. And that scene on that field was special that night. It seemed like half the town was hanging out with you guys on Al Sainer Field. And again, I remember talking to Charlie Vitale after the game and just seeing the look in a senior's eyes, someone who's been there, for 3 years, and like you said, kind of took his lumps and grew with the team. Go back to that moment and how special that was, because that's what all of that stuff in the offseason was for, is for that moment and to do it on your home field and bring a championship back. I know that meant a lot, not just to you, but everyone involved in the program.
Yeah, that was for the entire town, the entire community, the entire school, and I think every single person in town was at that game. And I think they all came on the field to celebrate after. So you can't make a better scenario to end, and that game kind of represented this team. We just kept chipping away, little by little. Just keep doing their assignment with relentless effort, and it was 12-8 going into the fourth quarter, and then we just kind of took off. I felt like we got stronger as the game went on.
We can't let you go without talking about that last game up at Rutgers last week. Unfortunately, it was a 1-point loss. This is an unbelievable football game, where you came into a position where you scored with how many seconds left? Was there?
8 seconds.
8 seconds left. And to go behind by 1, the decision to go for 2 or to kick, your kicker had made 4, right? 3 for 3. 3 for 3
going in.
And your decision was to kick it. Unfortunately, he missed it wide left. And therefore, you lose the game by a point, the regional game. Now, next year, you will get better for that. I know you referred back 3 years ago when you played Raritan, and, you did,
yep.
And you didn't make it. You went for 2 and you didn't make it. You lost that game. We were fortunate to cover that game, Kevin, at Point Pleasant Borough. And, decisions like that, you'll remember for a lifetime,
Yep.
But remember, and I talked to you the next day, it didn't mean a championship. It meant a regional game, just another game at the end of the season. But the championship was already in the belt.
Yeah, and there's plenty of factors that go into
right.
The entire
Decisions.
game, and simply put, we thought kicking it gave us the best chance to win the game. And I had a lot of people after say, "Coach, it's just a bowl game. It's just icing
Right.
on the cake. Why didn't you go for it?" Well, we were playing to win the game.
Yeah.
We wanted to finish strong, send our seniors out on a high note, and the gut feeling was to kick it. We thought we were the better team, and we wanted to
Send it into overtime.
We wanted overtime, simply put. But just like every decision in the game, it was to win the football game.
Now that you've had a few days to get, and I don't know, get past it, get over. I don't know if you do, but move on from it, which eventually everyone's going to have to do. Again, Ed mentioned before how young your team is. I think off the top of my head, you of the starters, you graduate Charlie, and then 3 guys up front, and Tuzolino,
Yep.
Mechia, and Wilson, correct? So
correct.
you bring back a large majority of guys. Sometimes a team, a program, you need scars like that to kind of continue and build. And, you know, we've seen it. You look around the shore, the Middletown Souths, the Manasquans, the Bricks. I mean, they've been to a lot of championship games where they've lost too. And like that, it wasn't a sectional final, but and I talked to you after the game in the immediate aftermath. But you even spoke then about how this is something that they can carry with them. I mean, you guys had that, you know, relentless pursuit mantra that kind of fueled you. This seems like it's going to be something else that fuels those underclassmen who are back next year.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. And, you know, we're going to honor these seniors with how we play next year. And, you know, they told us, go win the whole damn thing next year. And
you can win the whole thing next year with the going to a full state championship next year. So
and it's going to be awesome. And, you know, yes, we do return a lot of starters, but it's going to be one day at a time. One day at a time. But I remember Croce and Charles Davison talking in the gym after Saturday, and they were not happy. So we're excited to attack the weight room.
Just remember, it's never easy to replace those offensive linemen. Never. They're the most important part of your team.
Absolutely.
Right? Those
no
guys,
doubt.
right?
No
Those
doubt.
are the guys you got to feed. I do want to ask you one thing. You won a sectional championship as a player at Brick Memorial.
Yes, sir.
Compare the feelings of playing on a championship team and coaching a championship team.
I mean, it's just great. You know, winning is awesome and what drives us every day. But, you know, the two teams were just similar. You know, when we played in 08 at Brick Memorial, we were just a good, solid football team. There was no D1 players, no stars. Kind of similar to this 2021 Point Borough team. Just a solid football team, a complete football team. You know, so selfless. No one cared who got the ball. No one cared who scored the touchdowns. It was simply do your job with relentless effort, and we're going to win the damn game.
Kevin, one more thing. I just would like to congratulate Brian. His fiancée is here tonight. He's getting married next July. Now, this is a little advice from one of your old coaches.
Okay.
Put the wedding in the back pocket, and then don't think about anything except that day in July when you get married. And then after that, after the honeymoon, then you get back to football. I think I'll make her happy saying that, right?
I won't watch film on the honeymoon. It's going to be tough. She wanted a fall wedding, but there was zero chance of that happening.
Zero.
Look, life advice from Luch is the new segment on the
There you
Coach's
go.
Corner, I guess.
Ed will be doing a show on the Lifetime Network. He has been married for about 80 years. So
no, 48. I told her
so
that.
doing
I
something
said
right.
48.
So there you go. Coach, congratulations. Bob will pass this over to you. Just a great effort. You know, I always feel like Point Borough is one of those special places. I love the fact the field is in the town, right?
Yep.
I mean, people just walk right from their home to the field. And when Point Borough is going good, it's a great feeling. It's a great place to be, Al Sainer Field. And it's been a while, but you brought it back. And, of course, now you have the burden of trying to do it again next year.
It's the truth. It's the truth. And, you know, that it was for them. It was for them, and they drove us and gave us extra motivation to, you know, make them proud and put a product on the field that we're all proud of. And you said it. You know, now we have some pressure, but it's awesome.
It's a good thing to have pressure.
Exactly.
When you don't have any, it means you're lousy.
Exactly.
We're going to take a break. We come back. The Shore Conference Most Valuable Player. Oh, there are some serious candidates for that, but only one gets it. We'll do that right after this.
Back at Asylum Sports Center in Wall as the Varsity Link Coaches Corner. Our special season-ending awards program continues on tonight. Varsity Link, it's the Athlete Social Media Network, so for more information, check those guys out on their website, www.varsitylink.com. Download the Varsity Link app on the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store.
And welcome back.
Yes.
So, most valuable player. Everyone has their own definition of this. I've always believed that the middle word in that is the word that you use when you pick valuable. Doesn't necessarily have to be the best offensive player, doesn't necessarily have to be the best defensive player, but in our case, we've always used it to pick that one person who his meaning to his team is so great and he makes an impact on both sides of the ball. I didn't know if I was going to talk to this guy about football or basketball. I'm going to save a basketball question for him later because we got a little WOBM Christmas Classic connection. But this most valuable player on offense was a tight end, caught 24 passes for 415 yards and 6 touchdowns on what was the number 2 offense in the Shore. Defensively, 87 tackles, 5 sacks, 22 tackles for loss, 2 fumble recovers on the number 3 defense in the entire Shore Conference. 13 tackles with a tackle for loss, with 1 tackle for loss and a win over DePaul in the championship game, which we'll talk about in a second. 12 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 1 sack and a win over Rumson in Week 7, which was a pivotal game among the Shore's top teams. 10 tackles, 2 of them for loss against Donovan Catholic. And in the semifinal game against St. Joe's of Hamilton, 11 tackles, 4 tackles for loss. He defines what a valuable player is. The Shore Sports Network most valuable player is Alex Bauman from Red Bank Catholic.
Thank you. Thank you.
It was a heck of a year for you guys, and just as we said to Alex Brown, when it culminates with a state championship in a game like that at MetLife Stadium, I mean that's everything you dream of. And you said as much to me after the game, so I'll take you back to that moment again, standing on that field as state champion, beating a team like DePaul, who was number 3 in the state at the time. Just everything you could want from a moment like that, the moment that you dream of when you come to play high school football. So just first and foremost, that's the team goal when you start your before you even start in August, when you're in the weight room and everything, and to accomplish it, I can only imagine how special that was.
Yeah, of course, that was our team goal starting from the end of last season, going into the off season, just drilling in to our teammates' heads that our goal is to make that state championship and ultimately win it.
You know, Alex, a lot of times when the ball isn't in your hands the entire game like it is, Alex Brown, the quarterback and people like that, the numbers don't really stick out that much. Yours certainly do, especially on defense, okay? But in that game, and I watched it on the stream, you had a couple of key plays in that game. Well, I'm going to take you back. You explained them to me. One was a tackle for a loss in the backfield. Remember that one? Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about that play.
Okay, so that was a little later on in the game. I saw that
second half.
I started to catch on to them running counter a little bit. I saw they were bringing the guard over and the tight end to come kick out. So I know if I could stay on the tackle who was down blocking, I could cut inside and really get up and through those 2 blocks and be able to spill that and go get the running back.
And you did. That's for sure. And the other one was in that same half. You came from the right side, lined up on the right side. You came all the way across field on a play that went away from you, and you made it was actually a little push out of bounds and prevented that first down. Do you remember that play?
Yeah, that was a little screen pass they set up. I know it looked like a pass at first, but then I saw the running back leak out, and the offensive linemen were leaking out as well. So I knew I had to redirect my path. I saw it was a little late on the screen pass. I was able to make it over there and hustle over there and make a play.
You sound like Peyton and Eli on that Monday night broadcast on ESPN. I mean, anytime they got to fill in for a guest, you're the man.
I love it when players break it down like that. But,
yes.
You're such an outstanding two-way player, and that's something that really goes into our selection for an MVP. You did it on offense. You did it on defense. And on offense, it's extremely impressive to me because this is an offense that is not hurting for weapons. I mean, you have the offensive player of the year is your quarterback. You have 3 really good running backs with Sabina Portella, Rajon Cooper, and Torrin Harmon. You have excellent wide receivers, Najai Rahman, Emmanuel Rossa, sophomore, Jaden Haynes, and then yourself at tight end. So there's only one ball to go around, but you managed to make your impact. And then we all know what you did defensively. So how much pride do you take in just being able to help your team and affect the game on both sides of the ball?
I mean, really, I just try and do what I can to help our team win, do whatever is needed of my coaches to really put us over the top and get us to that point where we can be a successful team and win a state championship like that.
24 catches. I mean, couldn't have Brown thrown you the ball a little more? Did you ever say to him?
Might have to joke about that a little bit.
Oh, yeah? Okay. All right.
Not thrown too much in the second half. A lot of these games.
That is true. That is true. All right, so I'll ask you the most important question. Who's better, you or your brother?
Me.
I love
Say
it.
that confidently.
All right.
We love Kevin, but he doesn't have the MVP.
Shout out to
trophy,
Kevin
right?
out of Notre Dame right now.
That's right. Oh, absolutely a shout out. He never won the MVP award. Just remind him of that.
Yeah,
okay?
well,
He was pretty
I'm going to
good.
send him a picture of the trophy.
Please
right
do.
now.
Absolutely.
That's what brothers are for.
That's absolutely.
Rub it in a little bit.
You're a 3-year starter, so you've been on this program for contributing at a high level since you were a sophomore. And again, like every player does, you've progressively gotten better and better every year. You're an all-shore player last year. What did you feel like you wanted to work on going from your junior year to your senior year? And obviously you did that to have the type of year that you did.
I think it was really just getting bigger, faster, and stronger in the weight room, on the field in the off season. Really just working on my craft, being able to work more technique this year rather than just try and muscle through everything and really run around people. I think the technique is a big part of it, and I think something that motivated me was how my high school career came kind of full circle. So freshman year, being out at MetLife, not playing, but being out on that team and just watching them do what they did. And now I'm able to do that as a senior and help my team win. I think that was a real big motivator for me.
How special was it at MetLife?
Oh, it's honestly still indescribable. I like the feeling just walking out on the NFL field, playing in front of all those seats. I know it wasn't packed, but for a high school game, there's still a big crowd under those big lights. It's honestly one of the greatest feelings ever.
Now, go ahead, Bob. I'm sorry.
What do you like better, offense or defense? Or do you even have a preference?
Everyone asks me that.
I know.
I don't know. I love both. I just love
You don't
playing
have to
football.
pick.
Yeah, I love playing football.
Because we ask that all the time, and some guys, right away, like, oh, I like this better, I like that better. But you don't have to like one better. I was just wondering.
Well, the good news for you is you love playing football, and you're going to continue to play football, but you have not made, correct me if I'm wrong, a final college decision.
No, I've not.
Where are you at in that process?
So as of right now, I'm still taking some visits some places, and I'm still playing it out a little bit, see where it goes. So I'm open right now.
The early signing period is next week, right? You're not going to sign next week probably.
No.
Okay.
I don't believe so.
All right. Do you have a timetable in mind when you'd like to get this done, or is it more when you're convinced you know where you want to go?
It's probably more when I'm convinced where I know where I go, where I fit perfectly.
And, multiple FBS offers. I know you have a lot of Ivy League interest too. So I know this is an important decision in your life, and it can be stressful at times. But is it comforting to know, like, hey, I have a lot of options? It's just about, figuring out what's the best fit for you and then making that choice?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like you said, just making sure I fit in that culture and fit in that place, be able to really build relationships with those players, see myself there for the next 4 or 5 years.
Well, wherever you go, that team's getting a heck of a player. So.
Yeah,
Thank
no
you.
question.
Thank
I know Kevin's going to ask you a basketball question, but I'm going to hop in with one too. I know you'll be at the Classic next week and for a couple weeks, for a week after Christmas. But there was a guy that played for RBC a while back, and he was a pretty good basketball player. Big guy, Quentin Nelson. Whatever happened to him?
Never heard of him.
I don't know.
But I mean,
He's playing somewhere, right?
we sat back, because we see every game. We sat back, and he had the agility of a 6'3" or 6'2" guard. When he played, and that's basically how you play. On the basketball court. But are you looking forward to basketball season?
I am looking forward to basketball season. I think we're going to be have a really
pretty
great
good team.
Yeah.
Pretty good team.
Yeah, got the number 2 seed in the WOBM Christmas Classic. When I was lying in my hospital bed, my motivation was I knew I was missing football season, but I had people texting me, are you coming back for the WOBM Classic? And I said, hey, that tournament doesn't exist without me. So
you got it.
I'm coming back.
It.
But I'm looking forward to seeing you on the court. Now, if I remember last year watching you brought the ball up quite a bit. You played a lot of the point, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I did.
You going to do that again this year?
Yeah, I'll bring the ball up a little bit. I think we're going to share it around a little bit more. But, yeah, I'll definitely bring the ball up.
You got 4 returning starters.
Yes,
you
we do.
should be good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on record as saying I would be disappointed if you didn't make a big run at that title, among other things.
I think
Yeah.
we're going to have a very special season this year.
Good. Well, you had a special football season,
Yep.
and you've been a great player at RBC for 3 years, and a big reason for the success of the program. And again, another young man who's concerned about his academics. So we wish you nothing but the best, and please make sure you take that picture and send it to your brother.
I will
tonight.
right away. Right away.
The most valuable player in the Shore Conference, Alex Bauman from Red Bank Catholic. Okay, so we're going to take a break. When we come back, we got to pause a little bit. We're going to draw the winner of the Butcher's Block dinner for 6, and then we're going to hand out the big trophy right here. Number 1 ranked team in the Shore. Any drama on that? Oh, I'll tell you what, it wasn't easy, was it?
There might
No,
not
it
be
was
drama
not
at this
easy.
point. People might have figured it out, but it was not easy.
Well, we're going to do that in a couple minutes right after this. The number 1 team of the Shore Conference, but Friday nights during the course of the football season, I got to do one. That was it, and then I went on. Then I went on the DL. I feel like Saquon. I spend more time in the DL than I do
60
active.
day.
Yeah,
Then
exactly.
transfer to the 15, and then now you're off, so you're good.
That's exactly right. So Friday nights during the season, with the exception of I think 1 week where the weather was horrendous.
No, we did it that night also.
They did a half, I'll
Yeah,
say
they
that.
did a half.
Yeah.
They braved the elements.
The entries were wet, that's for sure.
Ed and my man Steve Meyer were out at one of the better games in the Shore Conference for the Block Game Day Countdown. And Ed would kind of set the scene on the Shore Sports Network Facebook page, and then we encourage people who were current to the game to sign up for this terrific prize. The whole Friday night thing was sponsored by the Butcher's Block. I know we've talked in the past. Tommy D.M. Breezy was a former star quarterback at Monmouth Regional, later on the college level at Monmouth University, and Kane,
yeah.
right? Broke a bunch of records there, and is a big football guy, as is his right-hand amigo, Pat Guerin, who joins us live. And they were nice enough to sponsor this all season long. We had a lot of fun with it. I know Ed and Steve had a lot of fun mingling with people and talking about it. And, of course, we allowed people to sign up to win what is a fabulous prize, a dinner for 6. And I don't want to say the new, but the different Butcher's Block, which I'll let Pat talk about in a second, but in Long Branch, which is just listen. If you're a steak guy, there's nothing like it. It's a terrific place, and for most of this time while they've been doing work, the big thing there is they sell these boxes, the block box, where you bring home whatever you want, steak, whatever it is, and you make your own on the grill. And Steve told me he had one like last week, was like better than any steak he's had in his life. Of course, it didn't do me any good. But again, I'm a team guy, you know what I mean? So Pat joins us. First of all, Pat, thank you and Tommy so much for sponsoring our little Friday night soiree. We really enjoyed doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for having us. Tom's a big football guy. I played baseball and soccer, but I'm a big Shore sports guy. We went to Monmouth, so we were happy to be a part of it. And then we're supporting Long Branch as well, and just the whole Shore. So.
Yeah, and by the way, every Friday night we also gave out an MVP award, which the Butcher's Block sponsored, and Ed would present it right on the field afterwards to the player of that game, which was a lot of fun. So we had a good time with it. And so give us the update on the block.
The update. We So the biggest thing is we got a liquor license over last spring. We held on to it. We kind of closed down to renovate the inside, kind of redo the butcher shop, because what it was before wasn't intended to be what it was, a fully serviced restaurant. We were going to open as a butcher shop, do lunch. It kind of took off to what it became.
A monster.
A monster, and everyone just loves, we bring in all natural prime meats, which is kind of like the roots of what Tom believes in, his family, where they came from with their background in distribution of meats. So we're trying to make it unique, and we're like partnered with local farms to bring stuff in. So when we reopen, it's going to be, I don't want to give too much away, but it's the inside's magnificent. It's filled with passion. We built an environment that, when you go to dinner, you don't want to just, some places can be boring. We're trying to, change the pace and be a good time.
Are the Brussels sprouts still going to be on the menu?
Absolutely.
I'm telling you.
Staple.
I am not a vegetable guy. I have hated Brussels sprouts all my life. The
people
first
don't
time
know.
we went for dinner, Tommy said, you got to have them. I'm hooked.
You
Can't have them anywhere else.
Everyone does that. They're like, I don't eat bolo. I'm not a big fan. I'm like, oh, yeah, you should try it. You should really try
You're
it.
the only one on the staff that likes those Brussels sprouts.
Oh,
no
I'm
way.
telling you. You guys are out of your mind.
They're
You don't
the
know. It's
best.
like candy. It's like candy. So I don't know if you have a firm date. When are you hoping?
January.
Sometime
So
in January.
Tom couldn't be here tonight. We're actually doing a staff training and tasting for testing items for the menu. So there's a lot of changes going on. A lot of stuff will come back. There's staples.
Yeah.
But then we're trying to, be unique in a way where you can't, you haven't seen this dish before. So
All right,
there's tasting going on. We're doing soft openings and training and events. We've been doing events for the past couple of months, but January is the plan for dinner opening, and then there's a butcher shop which will be redone, which is also probably January, February, and then eventually get back to doing lunch as well.
Can I put a little pressure on you right now?
Always.
A little pressure. So in the middle of January, it's my wife's birthday. It's a significant
Yeah.
one, and she has reminded me on several occasions of what she did for my 65th. So we're going to have to talk
Yeah,
because
we can
I'll
talk.
be
We
hung
can
out
talk.
to dry. All
I've
right?
got a list. I got
and-
emails for days.
Yeah, I got you.
Sure you do.
All right, but listen, real last thing. But it's also a very busy time for you because
Yeah.
people buy these boxes as
So
Christmas gifts.
It's huge. This year's a little bit different because we scaled back. We haven't been doing a lot of advertising because we're closed. The butcher shop did crazy numbers last year. The boxes did crazy numbers. We don't even have the space to really push it crazy, but we are, there's roast. There's we do filet roast. We do bone-in rib roasts, which we cut off the bone, tie it back on. It's unbelievable. I sold fillets last week for Thanksgiving. Those fly off the racks. Christmas is even bigger than that because Thanksgiving is kind of the turkey ham, but
Yeah,
people still do roast. But I already have tons of orders for that, and then the boxes are just. It's like you wouldn't even imagine they're like a great just Christmas gift. Like your dad, you don't know what to get your dad, just buy him a single ribeye. He'll love it.
Yeah.
Like it's insane. So I think I have already over 400 orders for boxes, which I'm like trying to figure out. Right now, not
The
thinking about it.
blockshopnj.com is the
TheBlockShopNJ.
website. You can follow them on Twitter. It's very entertaining. Instagram, very
yeah.
entertaining. And we're going to now ask you
Oh yeah.
to make one person really happy and a lot of others basically pissed off. That's what's going to
I'm
happen
gonna
right
mix-
here.
I'm gonna mix around a little bit, dig deep.
Yep.
Here.
These are all the people who signed up.
This is like the moment of truth, man.
Moment
We've
of
been doing
truth.
this for weeks.
Lisa Hazel, hometown West Lawn Branch.
Oh,
Shore football.
There you go.
All right.
There you
We'll have
go.
to email her. We got her number and email here.
yeah, we'll
So-
we'll reach out to her as well, and that's awesome. And again, yeah, congratulations, Lisa. If you need someone to fill your table, Pat again, and please send our regards to Tommy. We
Absolutely.
can't thank you enough for being a partner for us and showing your support for Shore Conference football, Long Branch High School. We've been great. It's been great to work with you the last couple of years. We really do appreciate it.
For sure. Thank you guys.
Thanks.
Pat Guerin from the Butcher's Block in Long Branch. We're going to take our last break, and we come back, and it's the number one team. Who gets to hold this for a whole year right after this?
back at Asylum Sports Center in Wall as we come to the close of the entire Shore Conference football season, really, as we've gone through our season-ending awards here on the Shore Sports Network. Real quick, we'll run it down. Our Defensive Player of the Year, John Lista, the senior linebacker from Rumson Fairhaven. Our Offensive Player of the Year, Alex Brown, senior quarterback, Red Bank Catholic. Our Coach of the Year from Point Pleasant Borough, Brian Staub. And our Most Valuable Player, Alex Bauman from Red Bank Catholic. One more award to give out, Kevin. It's the big trophy, and that's our Team of the Year award.
Yeah, we started this last year, and our motivation last year was, well, number one will be more subjective this year than ever before. We didn't know we'd end up with that Shore Conference pod thing and kind of determine number one. But we thought, you know what? Let's do this every year. We'll put a new plaque on it. Whoever gets it, and it's theirs for a year. If they win it again next year, they get to keep it for 2. And this was a difficult year, Bob. In all honesty, you and I had several conversations the last couple of weeks, just because there was sort of like a trio of teams that you could make a case for. And at the very end, the fact that they won a state championship and beat what was then the third-ranked team in New Jersey, we felt fairly convinced that this honor should go to the Caseys of Red Bank Catholic, and accepting is their head coach, Mike Lang.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And as Kevin said, it was not easy. Like, you guys in the Shore didn't make it easy, because usually, I mean, this stuff is almost always settled on the field in a way where we go, okay, like the rest of the top 10's a pain, but usually number one's easy. And we had, the 3 teams, you guys, Donovan Catholic, Rumson, everyone kind of beat each other. So, like, okay, what's it going to be? And I remember saying to myself, even before the playoffs start, like, look, everyone's kind of still in this. It's going to take a special run in the postseason. That's going to be the deciding factor. That's exactly what you guys did. 3 playoff wins, a state championship at MetLife Stadium, and you did so against an excellent DePaul Catholic team. And we talked to 2 of your players already and how special that was. From a team perspective, there's nothing better. A state team championship, and now number 1 in the Shore. So congratulations to you guys. And I know from talking to you that night, it was, you were still trying to soak it all in, but it was pretty special.
Yeah, no doubt. It's a night that obviously you wait for a long time as my first head coach as a championship, and to share it with this group of guys here and our program and my family and everybody involved with the Red Bank Catholic community. It was just an awesome night.
I always wonder this, Coach. When you are a program like RBC has been, a perennial Shore Conference power, you know that you're going to get your opponent's best effort week in and week out because they want to say, we beat RBC. Does that make it even more challenging to get your team up every week during the course of a season?
I mean, I guess every team is different personality-wise. I mean, I would say this group as a whole really dialed in every week, when the game, when 7 o'clock came around. And I think it's a balance of, veteran guys, senior leadership to younger guys that buy into what we do. And at the end of the day, you have to have that culture where guys buy into, that family-like atmosphere and, play for the guy next to you. And I think our guys did a great job of that.
Mike, talk about your leaders a little bit. I mean, you could talk about just about 25 or 30 guys on this team, but talk about the leaders. The leaders are the guys that sort of take, the problems to the head coach. The head coach sort of takes his problems with the assistants and himself to the leaders to get back to the players.
Yeah, I mean, our senior captains did a great job. Ryan McPherson, Michael Keneally, Alex Bauman, and then you can throw in Alex Brown, Rajon Cooper, all these guys that are here, Vince Carpenter. They're just examples of what we want our program to be like.
We had Alex Brown and Alex Bauman up, and those are 2 of the most prominent players, not just in the Shore, but in the state. You have Sabina Portello, who certainly gets a lot of attention. As you mentioned, Vince Carpenter, committed to Purdue. But there's so many unsung players on this team, and I even thought that the championship game was like the perfect example of it. You had a player like Christian Ungemeyer Jr. who had a huge game. Guys coming up with big plays. You don't win a state championship with, even 5 or 6 really good players. Like, you have to have a whole team of solid guys. So just speak to that. Maybe some of those unheralded guys. And as Ed said, you could probably rattle off 25, 30 names. And I don't want to put you in a spot where you're leaving guys out. But I know there was guys that probably didn't get the attention week in, week out, but that were just really, really good players for you on a consistent basis.
Yeah, that's a great point. If you look at the season as a whole, I mean, every week you could probably peg down a couple guys that maybe just kind of popped that maybe you didn't think of. Corbett Samini did a great job at free safety for us collectively throughout the year. Made a big interception at the end of the St. Joe's and Hamilton game. Ashton Mejia's coming over from Mater Dei was a great addition on the offensive line. Joe Diorio, a corner, was a 3-year starter for us that did a great job. So there's so many guys that I could, like you said, but I think
print
every
out the
week,
roster.
yeah. I mean, I just think every week kids contribute in different ways, which was great.
Mike, what about the turning point of your season? I mean, when you go 11-1, the wins just keep chalking up. But what about the turning point when you said, "Hey, this team is special. We could do it"?
Well, I think we always felt like we had that capability. I mean, in a weird way, I look at that when we lost to Donovan, which they, hey, credit to them, they outplayed us that night. And then you sit there and we have, 2 weeks of sitting on it, and you guys will tell you, like, it's the worst feeling when you can't get on the field the next week to kind of erase the pain. So we had to sit on that for 2 weeks. And then you obviously, you talk about, everything that the Browns had to go through that Thursday after. It was a defining moment in our season, and I'm just so proud of the way we responded collectively as a program. And I think it's a tribute to the kids, because it was those 2 weeks really defined what we could have gone in the tank and got bounced out in the first round.
Right.
And we actually came out stronger running out into the playoffs.
It's interesting. I think we hear in football more than any other sport the word culture, right? Alex talked about it. Brian Staub will tell you the same thing at Point Borough. Alex Bauman mentioned that when he was younger, being at MetLife but not playing, but seeing it all and knowing. How important is that to you as a coach to create and maintain that culture, and especially keep those players realizing that you're playing for the guy next to you?
I look, it's one of the biggest parts of our program. I mean, it's something that I believe in, even when I played, down to when I got here. It was always about that, and obviously you have to have kids and coaches that are willing to buy into that. I told them, like, after we lost to Donovan, my goal was to win a state championship, and quite honestly, it's not for me, it's for them. And I think that's that says everything to what our program is. It's not about me, it's about you taking care of the guy next to you.
Whereas last season was different, as we all know, in a lot of ways. And you come out this year, and the kids can run out that first home game, and all their friends are in the stands, and it's packed. And, and you have these big games week in, week out. You're down at Ocean City, that opening weekend, Battle of the Beach, and that was a great atmosphere. You have the Rumson game where, you have to park like 3 towns away to get to the game. And, those are special. Those are the kind of things you play for. Just, the state championship obviously was the cherry on top, but just everything that went into the season with this group just seemed like it was a lot of fun, day in, day out, going to work and then going to the field with these guys.
Oh yeah, it was enjoyable. It's an interesting collection of personalities, like they'll
it
say.
Always is.
But I think that's part of what makes it a fun, unique scenario. And you think of, I know we've talked about before what the COVID year was. I mean, I think of like my first practice. I always say this: my first practice was like, hey, we can get out to practice, but you can't use a football. So to think of where it went from that to what it is now, it just makes it that much more special.
Mike, championship game I want to talk about. I isolated on you quite a bit. You were up in the air a few times, I mean, you could have dunked the basketball if you had one.
Well, I don't know about that. I'll go with that.
But you were very excited. You were excited, that's for sure. When Alex ran that ball in for the winning touchdown, did you relax at that point?
No.
No?
Too much time left, right?
No. I think it pretty much took till that ball landed on the ground in the last play of the game to get me to relax. But I did sleep on the couch pretty much all day the next day. So.
That was everything you could have wanted out of a championship game. I mean, it's different when you're coaching in the game, but just being a partial observer and an impartial observer and watching it and seeing how it unfolded. And then, I don't know if you guys went back and watched the film or kind of relived that. Certainly, you could do that when you win it, but it has to have been fun to reflect on that because, as Bald Alex has said, you're at MetLife. You're playing at a professional stadium. Just that scene on a Friday night. Again, everything that went into that. That's a different kind of experience. And I know you experienced it as an assistant a couple years ago when you guys won, but to do it again, that's why you coach, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, going back to what last year was, to go in that atmosphere where you have two top teams in the state duking it out for 48 minutes. I mean, that's what you sign up for.
Mike, I got one more thing for you. If you would give a shout out to your assistant coaches, because we've talked about a lot of the players, but you've alluded to assistant coaches. You can't do without them. So if we give them a little props.
Absolutely. And I'll probably forget one, and they'll text me after this. But that's okay. No, Joe O'Connor, our offensive coordinator, does a great job. Kevin Gall is our defensive coordinator. Keith Hugger, our special teams coordinator. Mike Rosenfeld's our quarterback coach. Let's see, who else am I missing here? Joe Gallagher is our receiver defensive backs. Matt Finnecane does our offensive line, does a great job. Jay Graham is our defensive line coach, brings the Graham juice every day to practice. Obviously our freshman coaches, Tony Flago, Matt Mascara, Don Gilson. Again, I'm probably forgetting someone, but I think I hit all. Oh, Jason Rattan. Sorry, there you go.
Guys knew, right?
Lemire, Andrew Lemire. I knew I was going to forget somebody. So.
You did pretty good.
Thanks.
Mike, congratulations on a great year. We hope you can find a place at RBC to display that trophy. And the best case scenario for you is we don't call you next December to get it back.
Okay, we'll try our best.
We'll get it.
We just make you bring it to the show, and then you get to bring it back.
Right. Congratulations, and a special thanks, to the turnout from the RBC program tonight. Players and parents obviously showing that support is very important. We appreciate it. We're going to wrap up here. As we wrap up, on behalf of Ed and Bob, we want to especially thank the people here at Asylum Sports Center in Wall, an amazing state-of-the-art facility, for hosting us tonight and for our season opener. And, of course, Varsity Link for sponsoring this all season long. We couldn't do it without them. Tom Tremblay, the best engineer in the business. Steve Meyer, he's MacGyver. That's what he is. He's MacGyver. He does about everything we need to do. But we've had fun talking high school football all season long. And, heck, it's only about 7 months to the Old Shore Classic. So what the heck? We'll be here before you know it.
It's good to have that back after a 2-year
Sure
hiatus,
is.
that's for sure.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy New Year. Happy holidays. Thanks for joining us. You have been watching and listening to the Varsity Link Coaches Corner. Good night, everyone.
Thank you.